So I would go to the draft board, 16 years old, and one of the men, the senior citizens from our neighborhood was there, and he had a brogue, and he says, "What's the likes of you doing here? You're a skinny stick of wood, you have glasses, they'll not take you. To me, you're 4F." So I was heartbroken, and I went with one of my buddies, and he was in the same predicament, and he made out 2 phony certificates, and we went up to the 14th Regiment, and we got in to see the major, and he talked to us, and he says, "All right, you boys are now going to become guardsmen." And as we're leaving, he says, "Hold it." And he turned around and he says, "They're going to make men out of you boys." It was my gun. I have to run to the front and catch the shell as it comes out. Now it doesn't drop out. They inch it out by inch until I have the whole shell in my hand. Now that's a 40 millimeter shell, and now when I throw it, I have to throw it out past the first deck. Now at the time, I was only 145 pounds, and being as thin as I wasn't a football player. So the only thing to do was to grab the neck of the shell, bring it back behind my head. Now I can't shake it because the shell can go off, and then I have to throw it. And it went out into the ocean, but with the waves of the ship as we were moving, it catches the shell and it brings it back in, and it hit the rear end of the ship. We shot down quite a few Japanese planes, but there's so many shocking things that to this day you have bad dreams. And we were right alongside the Franklin when it got hit. Kamikaze came straight down and went through the deck. And there are 3,000 men on that ship on a flat top, and 800 were killed with that one shot. And we had to bring some of the bodies aboard our ship. And when you're a kid, and you know, a lot of people figure, well, I'm 20 now, I'm a man. No, you're not a man. You're not a man until you see life, when you see things happen that you can't believe it's possible. Or today when the children see horror movies, you say, well, there, I experienced. No, you have to live it. You have to be there. You have to feel the pain. And that's when all your senses in your body go to work at one time. You smell the fumes from the shells. You see what shrapnel can do. Oh, the bodies that we brought up from the Franklin, I never saw half of a man's body burnt or disfigured, and the other half still in one piece. And that's what you get exposed to at war, and you have to learn to accept it, or and when you live it, and you become associated with lads like yourself that are young, overnight you become a man, and you're not aware of it until one day they stop calling you kid. But there again too, I was very blessed with the older men that were in our outfit. They always had consideration, and if they called you kid, that was an honor. So many of the men and women have gone through not just the experience and the fright of it all, but the pain and the hardship of watching somebody you get to love. They become brothers to you. And when you see one of them wounded, it's almost like yourself. One plane that we shot down, it was coming right at our mound, and when we hit it, the plane blew up and the pilot rejected from the plane. And we picked the body up when he come aboard, but he was barely alive, and all his clothes were burnt off. And he finally died, so they wrapped the body up and they gave him a Navy funeral at sea. Now, some of the men that were what we call them sideboards, is when you line up on the side. And we were there, they were spitting at the, what they do is they wrap the body and they put it on a long plank. Mm-hmm. And they were spitting, and the officer in charge said, "Hold it. You men are fighting for what you believe in." He was fighting for what he was believed in. He said, "They are taught more hatred than we are, so they really hate us. Don't lower yourself by hating. Have some compassion." And they shot the man over, but I never forgot that.